Hello and welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is the Wednesday edition. Surprise! I told you on Saturday I wasn't sure what it was going to be on. I thought I would review some of my favorite knit and crochet patterns. So we're going to start with things that you wear, which in this case, well, all of it is things you would wear, but in this case it's going to be talking about garments and in particular tops. So I'm going to show you some knit and some crocheted ones. I will put pattern links down below. Some of these are free patterns, some are not. So we'll get started. This first one I have made, most of these patterns, they're my favorites because I've made them more than once. This particular one is called the Camisole or the Chamisole. This is a pattern from Annie's Signature Patterns, and I have made this several times. I like it because it does have a little bit of a sleeve that you can make a little longer if you want. I like this little gathering right in the front, right here. This is knitted, and I do like it because it gives it a little bit of a feminine twist to it, but it's just very flattering because of this little gathering right here. So for those of us who are a little larger in certain areas, it just helps it to really flow well. So this one is one of my favorites. Again, it is called the Chamisole. It is a paid for pattern over on Annie's. So now I'll do a crocheted one. I have two knit ones and I have one crocheted one. This is, when I got it, it was a free pattern. It is now a paid for pattern. I initially found this on Expression Fiber Arts, but it's not by Expression Fiber Arts, but it is the Callaheo pattern. And I like the scalloping right at the edges here. I just think, again, it's very flattering. It's very feminine. I have made this twice. I really like it. It fits nicely. You can see it kind of has, not gathers, but it's a little fuller in the front, so it does have a nice drape. The yarn I made this with was, I forget what the name of it was. It's a Hobby Lobby yarn, and it's an ecru color with these different little blobs of color in it. So it goes with a lot of things. So I do wear this a lot, and it is a cotton. I do know it's a cotton blend, so I do like this a lot. And this one is also done in a cotton. So I do have some wool sweaters, but most of the ones I'm going to be showing you right now are things I'm wearing in the summertime that are short sleeved. So now I'll do the other knit pattern that I have. This is free. This is the Flax Light. Now this is a free pattern from Tin Can Knits. It is intended as a long sleeved sweater, okay? But I've made it several times short sleeved. So there's a Flax Light, which is made with fingering weight yarn. But if you want to work with worsted weight, which means it's going to knit up a lot faster, you can do the Flax sweater. They're the same pattern. They're just, the flax is for worsted weight, and the Flax Light is written for a fingering weight or sock weight yarn. So this one is the Flax Light, and it's a basic raglan sleeve. And a raglan sleeve is when the sleeve goes down like this, starts at the collar, and that's where your sleeves attach. It is top down, and I love this sweater. Thankfully, even with my weight loss, it still fits because this yarn is a combination of bamboo. They don't make it anymore. It's got a bamboo and a cotton in it. It is so, so soft. It's so comfortable. I have it in teal and I have it in gray as well. The gray one's kind of worn at this point, but I also have all these beads that I put on it. And yeah, I love this shirt. I usually wear it with like a black skirt, something like that. Not intending to look like the Great Pumpkin because it is orange, or Halloweenish, anything like that, but they just look good together. So you could wear a white skirt with it too, but maybe even a peach, because it does have some light colors, but you'd have to watch what color of kind of that you put with it. But anyway, yeah, so that is the garments that I like to wear that are knitted and crocheted. Now I'm going to talk about some of my shawl patterns, or some of them are my shawl patterns, but some of my shawls that are my favorite. I do have one crocheted one in the mix. So let's get started. I will kind of intersperse them. So the first one that I have made, I've lost track of how many times. This is the Hitchhiker shawl. It's more of a shawlette. It's asymmetrical. This is by Martina Bem. It is a paid for pattern. I think when I bought it, I think it was like $6. Like I said, I've lost track of how many times I've made this. I made some for my mom and my daughter and daughter-in-law one year. I've made it several times for me. I've made the same pattern and put some yarn overs in it so I had some lace. I've used this pattern tons and tons of times, and I like it. This is the type that you would just wear. It's not meant to go around your shoulders. It's meant to wear like this, and it has these little teeth edge to it, so it really gives a nice accent. This particular yarn was from a Christmas in July advent calendar that I opened, I believe, last year. And so that's what this is left over from. It's very soft, and I forget where I got the yarn from. It was an Etsy shop where I got it from. But yeah, I have used this pattern to death at this point, but it is one of my favorites. Now another nose fluffies from some of the yarn. Now this next one is one of my patterns. Shameless self-promotion, but I do use this one a lot, and I'll explain why. When I designed this pattern, I wanted something I could wear for patriotic holidays. So I actually wore this just a few weeks ago to church when it was Flag Day. So it is called Banner Unfurled. And the link to it, down below you'll see a thing that says My Patterns. You can click there. I do have free patterns, and I have a couple that are paid for. I'm going to be showing you another one that is a paid for pattern as well. This one is. Now the fun part of this pattern is you don't need to make it in red, white, and blue. I have made this pattern in black, pink, and gray. If you are a sports fan, you could do it in the sports color, and it gives you something to wear to the game. You know, like if you're a Pennsylvania Steelers fan, you could do it in the white, gold, and black. You know, you get the idea. You could do it in your sports colors. I have one that I wear quite often that is done in a kind of a gray. It's a grayish beige and turquoise, and then it has a multicolor in there that has the turquoise and the grays and a white in it. And then they all have this beading right here. And don't let beading scare you. I do have a tutorial on how to do it. It's actually very, very easy. It's a matter of just popping it onto a stitch as you're knitting. You do not need to pre-thread them when you do it. So this is Banner Unfurled. And I forget how much I've got it for. It's under $4, I think. I forget how much I have it listed as. So now I'll show you my favorite crochet shawl. You probably already know because I make this thing constantly when I do craft fairs, but it's also one of my personal favorites. I have made this in a cotton, and then I made the Granny versus the Virus Meets Granny. I did one of those too, that I use quite often in the winter time because that one has alpaca in it, so it's warm. But I just love this pattern. I think it's lacy, it's easy to dress up, it's easy to dress it down. I've actually made headscarves, like bandanas, out of this and just done like a smaller triangle and made it for a bandana. You could make this smaller and use it for just a neck type of shawl, or like this one, which is substantial and can wrap around your shoulders like that. So yeah, I've lost track of how many times I've done this. I have made them. It crochets up so quick, and it is such an intuitive pattern that once it's like a 3 or 4 stitch or 3 or 4 row repeat, so it's easy. Yeah, it is definitely a go-to crochet shawl that I like because I can make it fast, and I think it's pretty. So this is a free pattern. I have a tutorial for it, but there's lots of people out there that have a tutorial. I learned it from a YouTube channel, Fiber Spider, where he did the shawl and did the tutorial for it. But there's lots of people that have tutorials out for this pattern, but it is free. So like I said, I will try to link down below the links to all of these patterns. So the last two shawls that I have, this one, I wish I could remember the yarn I made it from. This is called Round Dance. It is a free pattern. This is what they call a crescent shawl. It is a shawlette. This is as deep as it gets. It's not something that's, you could wear it, or I guess you could wear it around your shoulders because it's certainly long enough. I mean, I can extend it arm to arm. So this would definitely fit around your shoulders if you wanted to wear it like this, which would be perfect for like a summertime if you just want to cover your upper shoulders or something. So, I mean, you could use it because it is wide enough. I usually wear it around my neck, but the yarn that I made this out of, like I said, I wish I remember what it was because it's like snuggling a baby blanket up to you. It is so soft. I do believe it was an acrylic. I got it at a local yarn store, but I don't remember what it is. I like the colors in it because it reminds me of sea glass, and when I go on vacation, if we're near a beach or anything, I love to look for sea glass. So if you don't know what sea glass is, it's trash basically that was dumped, bottles and things that were dumped into the ocean, and the tumbling motion from the waves and the sand actually makes it look kind of frosted, and a lot of the bottles are this kind of a color. So this actually does have some other colors in it. It has some grays. They're just very subtle. Some grays and some lighter kind of a jade color. And then it has this lacy pattern at the bottom with bobbles, and the edge, as you can see, is kind of rippled. So I just think it's a pretty pattern. It looks great when it is put on just like this. And it's long enough. I don't like to have to use shawls where you put them on and you're constantly tugging at them because the ends aren't long enough. This one is like the perfect length for doing that, but you could also get it around your shoulders if you wanted it as well. So this is one of my all-time favorites. And yeah, there it is. You can see some of the striping that's in it, but it's just very, very subtle with the kind of sea glass colors and the light gray that blend through it. Now the last pattern I'm going to show you is also one that I designed. I've made it several times. I've made it in a solid color for my daughter-in-law, and I like it because it's triangular, but it's done asymmetrically. This is called Keeping You in Stitches, and one of the reasons I like it, let me hold it up here. This was done with 4 different colors. Now you can do this with 2 different colors, which I have done this in 2 different colors. I did it in a turquoise and a variable turquoise. It had turquoise and some other colors in it. So I've done it with 2 colors. I've done it with 4 colors. This was done with Knit Picks palette in different shades of gold. I do wear this a lot in the winter time. I like it because even though it's asymmetrical, it's deep enough here that it's almost triangular. And the fun thing with this pattern, you start at this end with garter stitch right here, and then it goes into different types of very simple lace. So if you've never knit lace before, but you'd like to try it without a big commitment, this is the ideal shawl because it's just enough to kind of give you a taste of different types of lace without a lot of, you're not doing the entire shawl out of one single pattern. You just do it for a little bit of time. And there's the end coming up right here. The end has Feathers and Fan or Old Shale pattern right here where it kind of ripples. And then one of the viewers last year, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, we did a knit along of this pattern or any of my patterns, and Susan Lothar did this, and she sent me a picture. It was gorgeous. She actually did this in like an off-white, the entire shawl, and she knitted it twice. So she went all the way through the shawl, and when she got to the end here, she started it, she didn't take it off the needles, but she started back through the pattern again. So hers is twice this size. And it's done in a color that's very neutral that she could wear with lots of things. Now, I've never tried going back through it again, but she sent me a picture and it was absolutely gorgeous. So that might be something I might try sometime. So, but it's just a fun one to make, just because you're not doing the same pattern all the way through. There's enough change in pattern to keep it interesting. So, those are my favorites, and I hope you'll check some of them out. Like I said, I will put the links down below. And yeah, that's the fun stuff for this week. So I will see you again on Saturday. You've already seen one preview of one of my finished objects. Yeah, the virus shawl. So anyway, yeah, stay tuned on Saturday for some other things I've been finishing up this week. So that is it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again on Saturday. Bye, everybody.